In today's video, we're going to share some of the mistakes that we found in Peppa Pig. Like, in the episode Dressing Up, Peppa and George find the old clothes of Mummy and Daddy Pig. So, they decide to wear the dress and pretend to be their parents. Later in the episode, we can notice that Peppa and George's clothes are all muddy, and also Peppa is wearing lipstick. But the mistake is, right when Peppa Pig takes off her dress, we can notice that the lipstick also disappears. I don't think lipstick works like that. Now this next one is a continuity mistake. In the episode Lost Keys, Peppa and her family go on a trip to a mountain scenic spot. But on the way down, Daddy Pig loses the car keys down the drain. And to get the keys out from the drain, they decide to buy a fishing rod so that they can hook the keys out. So Mrs. Rabbit sells them a fishing rod, and Daddy Pig throws the fishing line in the drain. Unfortunately, the fishing line isn't long enough to reach the keys. Now, pay attention, because here comes the mistake. Mrs. Rabbit decides to throw a stone down the drain to check its depth. And as you can hear, when the stone reaches down the drain, it makes a splash sound, meaning there's water on the bottom. Later in the episode, Mr. Bull arrives on the scene with a crane, and he uses the crane to get the keys. But wait, look at the bottom. There's no trace of water. But earlier, when Mrs. Rabbit threw a stone, we heard a splash sound. But in this scene, there's no water there. It's a weird error, isn't it? If you're enjoying the video, then don't forget to hit the like button. Now this next mistake might be the funniest one yet. In the episode Rebecca Rabbit, Peppa and George visit Rebecca's house where they pretend to be rabbits to see how different Rebecca and her family are. Rebecca shows them how to be a rabbit. She also mentions how much rabbits like to eat carrots. Later in the episode, Mummy Rabbit calls them for lunch. Now look carefully. We can see that everyone has got 3 pieces of carrot on their plate. So far, so good. But while everyone gets ready to eat, George refuses to eat anything. He hesitates until Daddy Rabbit points out how much a rabbit likes carrots. When the scene zooms onto George, look at Peppa's plate beside his. It's empty. But literally moments ago, there were 3 carrots on her plate, unless she ate 3 carrots within a millisecond. This is an animation mistake. In the episode Horsey Twinkletoes, Peppa and George are excited because Mr. Zebra has delivered a package from Aunt Dottie, who lives abroad. When they bring in the package to the kitchen, we can notice that behind them is a cabinet which is relatively small. And also beside the cabinet there's a recycling bin. So far so good. But the mistake is, when Peppa is taking out the horse toy to play, we can notice that the cabinet behind her, all of a sudden, is longer than before. And not just that. The recycling bin that was beside the cabinet is now replaced by recycling boxes. In the episode Desert Island, Grampy Rabbit, Grandad Dog, and Grandpa Pig go fishing. And if we look at the boat, we can notice there's a flagpole, steering wheel, and a gear lever. But the mistake is, when they sail the boat and reach their destination, we can notice that the gear lever has disappeared. But earlier, it was right there. And that's not all.